The most heroic flight attendant in aviation history, Neerja Bhanot. As the sun began to rise on September 5, 1986, Pan Am Flight 73 was scheduled to land at Jinnah International Airport in Karachi, Pakistan. But what happened on that fateful day would be anything but routine. The passengers and crew on board the aircraft would soon be faced with a nightmare scenario. A group of heavily armed terrorists would storm the jumbo jet, a Boeing 747. Amidst the chaos and confusion, one flight attendant emerged as a hero. But who was she, and what exactly did she do to save the lives of so many? Let's get right into it. Picture this. The flight is full of passengers, flight attendants and pilots, all excited for the journey ahead. But little do they know, they're about to experience one of the most terrifying moments of their lives. Pan Am Flight 73 consisted of a total of 360 passengers, including 13 flight attendants and 3 pilots. Now meet the crew of Pan Am 73. Captain William Allen Bill Kyanka, a veteran of the Korean War, who had been with Pan Am since 1954. First Officer Conway Tien Dodge Sr., who also fought in Korea and had been with Pan Am since 1955. And Flight Engineer John Joseph Ridgway, who joined Pan Am in 1962. It's unfortunate to know that soon everyone on board was about to go through the most unimaginable situation. The terrorists held them all hostage for nearly 16 hours, with no initial food, water, restroom breaks, or medical attention. But amidst all the chaos and confusion, a hero emerged, Neerja Bhanot. The hijackers rushed the aircraft and managed to get on board before the flight attendant could close the boarding door. These terrorists take control of the aircraft and are filled with malicious intentions. Disguised as Karachi airport security guards, armed with assault rifles, pistols, grenades, and plastic explosive belts, the 4 hijackers drove a van that had been modified to look like an airport security vehicle through a security checkpoint up to one of the boarding stairways to Pan Am Flight 73. Now picture this. You're a passenger on Pan Am Flight 73, and the terrorists have taken control of the aircraft. You're scared, you're uncertain, and you're desperate for any sign of hope. And then, the unimaginable happens. The pilots decide to abandon the aircraft through the cockpit hatch. Yes, you heard that right. The very people who are supposed to be in charge of the flight, the ones who are meant to guide you to safety, have fled the scene. The lead hijacker, named Safarini, quickly realized that the cockpit crew had pulled a Houdini and escaped through the cockpit hatch and used a rope to rappel to the ground and flee. This left the terrorists no choice but to negotiate with officials on the ground. He ordered the first and business class passengers to head towards the back of the airplane, while the back row passengers were ordered to head forward. With a full flight, passengers were left to sit wherever they could, including in the aisles, galleys, and door exits. Meanwhile, Neerja Bhanot was busy trying to outsmart the hijackers. After the terrorists demanded the passports of all the passengers on board, Neerja and her fellow flight attendants cleverly hid American passports under seats and even tossed some down a rubbish chute, fearing that the hijackers would target American citizens. But the tension continued to rise when the hijackers demanded for an American on board. Without any luck, a random passport was selected, a specific passenger, and it belonged to a British citizen named Michael John Thexton, who came forward. Thexton complied and was interrogated by Safarini, who was then ordered onto his knees for 12 hours and to stay at the aircraft door. As the stalemate continued into the night, with officials on the ground, the hijackers became more and more agitated. In a desperate attempt to create chaos and kill everyone on board, one hijacker aimed at another with an explosive belt near the door. The resulting small detonation only added to the chaos. The terrorists were unknowingly running out of time. They had 15 minutes until the aircraft would be without emergency power, resulting in a pitch-black cabin with no lights. The hijackers opened fire and threw grenades into the darkness of the cabin, killing 20 souls instantly and wounding more than 100. But Neerja and the other brave flight attendants were not about to let the hijackers have the final say. They sprang into action, evacuating as many passengers as they could to safety before escaping themselves. With passengers jumping out of the L3 and R3 doors and the R4 door finally armed to deploy the emergency slide, finally, the opportunity to escape. Nirja was selfless and tended to the safety of others, running to the emergency door and activating the emergency inflatable chute. She was brave and one of the last people to exit the aircraft. Her attention was focused on guiding passengers down the emergency slide. The heartless terrorists caught sight of her selfless act and decided to make her pay. In a cruel twist of events, the terrorist opened fire at Nirja with a direct hit to her hip and was bleeding heavily, but still conscious. 2 flight attendants carried her body to an emergency slide and pushed her body out. But as fate would have it, Nirja would not survive, extinguishing her bright light forever. This was truly tragic, as the young attendant was only 2 days shy of her 23rd birthday. But Nirja's story did not end here. It was July 6, 1988, when justice was finally served for the brutal hijacking and murders of Pan Am Flight 73. 5 Palestinian men were convicted in Pakistan for their roles in the heinous acts and were initially sentenced to death. However, their sentences were later commuted to life in prison. In a remarkable turn of events, one of the convicted hijackers, Zayed Hassan Abdallatif Safarini, was handed over to the FBI from a prison in Pakistan in September 2001. He was brought to the United States, where on May 13, 2005, he was sentenced to a staggering 160-year prison term. During the plea proceedings, Safarini shockingly admitted that he and his fellow hijackers committed the offenses as members of the Abu Nidal organization, also known as the ANO, which is a designated terrorist organization. The 4 other prisoners, Wadud Mohammed Hafiz al-Turki, also known as Mustafa, Jamal Saeed Abdul Rahim, who went by Fahad, Mohammed Abdullah Khalil Hussein al-Rahayal, referred to as Khalil, and Mohammed Ahmed al-Monawar, also known as Mansour. They were later deported by Pakistani authorities to Palestine in 2008. The convictions and subsequent actions of law enforcement agencies involved in bringing these terrorists to justice demonstrated the importance of international cooperation in combating terrorism. It was a significant milestone in the airline industry's history and showed the world that terrorism would not be tolerated. After the tragic events of Pan Am Flight 73, it became very clear that Nirja was dedicated to her job. Nirja was an extraordinary woman who embodied bravery and leadership in the face of terror. As a lead flight attendant or senior purser on Pan Am Flight 73, Nirja was responsible for overseeing the safety and comfort of the passengers and crew. The role of a purser is a critical one, as they are responsible for managing and delegating tasks to the other flight attendants, ensuring that all safety protocols are followed, and handling any emergencies that may arise during the flight. Though Nirja was new to flying, she was qualified for this position, having undergone training in Miami, Florida, although she possessed less than a year of experience being employed with Pan Am. She was known for her professionalism, attention to detail, and outstanding customer service skills. Her qualifications and experience made her an ideal candidate for the role of purser on Flight 73. Because of her remarkable sacrifice, Nirja has been posthumously recognized with various awards and accolades, both in India and internationally. Her heroic actions have set a benchmark for bravery and selflessness that continues to inspire people to this day. Nirja's family was presented with the Ashok Chakra, India's highest peacetime gallantry award, by the President of India in 1987. This award is given for acts of conspicuous gallantry in circumstances of extreme danger and devotion to duty. Nirja was the first female civilian and youngest person to receive this honor. In addition, Nirja was posthumously awarded the Flight Safety Foundation Heroism Award in 1987. This award recognizes exceptional bravery in the face of danger and a commitment to flight safety. Nirja's actions undoubtedly saved the lives of many passengers and crew members on board the hijacked flight, and her leadership during the crisis was instrumental in minimizing the damage. Nirja's bravery and sacrifice have had a significant impact on the airline industry and beyond. Her actions highlighted the importance of crisis management and training for airline staff, and led to the implementation of stricter security measures in airports and on board aircraft. Her story has inspired countless individuals to stand up for what's right and to act with courage in the face of danger. Nirja's legacy lives on through the awards and recognition that have been bestowed upon her and her family. Her selflessness, bravery, and leadership during the hijacking of Pan Am Flight 73 will continue to inspire generations to come.